We are recording.
Okay, so I'll start out here. Hello, everybody. We're very glad. Thank you for joining us. Oh, can't be heard? Oh, waving. There's Krista Wyatt. Hello. That was Nancy Goodman. Oh, my goodness. Old faces.
Hi, Nancy.
Wonderful. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Thank you
I'm
for joining
keeping
in.
myself mute, but I'll say hello.
Oh, it's so good to see the faces. For joining us on this second International Timebanking Day call and celebrating Edgar's 85th birthday tomorrow. Yeah.
Tomorrow.
Okay.
So this is the second of 3 call-ins that we're doing. We did one yesterday, we're doing one today, and we're doing one tomorrow, which is Kathy. I want to introduce Kathy Sippel, who is on our corner top left, but may not be there on your screen. She is a time bank coordinator in Indiana.
Valparaiso, Indiana.
And she very, very kindly offered us her Zoom capacity and is hosting the call. And honestly, we are learning that we are needing to learn some skills around Zoom. So she'll be moderating and moving it along. And let me just tell you how we'll be setting up the call today. So we'll do a quick round of introductions, and Kathy actually will manage that. So she knows how to do the unmuting and the calling for each of you to do a very short introduction, and we will do the introductions as follows. If you could tell us your name, even though it's on the screen, where you live, what part of the world you live in, what the name of your time bank that you're involved with, and whether your role in the time bank, are you a member or are you a coordinator? If you don't have a time bank and you're just curious and you're with us to find out, that's very exciting too. So please share that with us. And how long you've been doing time banking, that would be great. Then we'll follow those quick introductions with introductory remarks from Edgar. And he will be then paying tribute to Margaret Jeffries, who took time banking to New Zealand. We think Wendy is here too. Wonderful. Wendy will be speaking to that as well. Edgar will introduce our new executive director, Krista Wyatt, who is on the call. And then we will go to 2 people that we've asked to come and share, especially about their time bank. Pap Sam is one, and he just did a wave. And Jitka, I think it is, Jitka Zagola is the second. She's from Canada. And if each of the people that we've invited could keep their comments to maybe under 5 minutes, then we can actually have a shared conversation that's sparked by what they have shared and what you would like to add from your own time bank. And again, Kathy will step forward to manage that sharing conversation. Is that all clear with everyone?
Yes. Sounds good.
Good. Great. So we will be starting off with a few comments from Edgar, and I think you're keeping yours to 5 minutes or so, right?
Yes,
Striving to do that.
Getting a lawyer to ration words is a little contradiction, but I didn't think this International Time Bank Day could go by without memorializing what Margaret Jeffries did. She heard me talk and Chris talk at Bard College in 1980, I think.
No. It was like 2005 or 2000. It was about 17 years ago.
And she took it back to New Zealand.
I think with maybe, if it was not Wendy, it was with another person. Kathy Sippel has started screen sharing. Okay, great. Kathy has got something about, lovely. You've got a picture of Margaret up there. Yes, that's so nice. So Margaret and a colleague came, and they went and took it back to New Zealand.
Yeah, and then she called me, I guess, 10 years later and said, could I come for their anniversary? And she was remarkable. She made time banking so popular, but also it played a critical role, as we understood it, as she reached out to the Maori tribe, because there had been such a history that we associate with colonialism and exploitation and the equivalent in this country of racism. And the notion, and when I went there, the Maori leaders came forward and said this could bridge, because it was not something that was white people's stuff. It was about how to take their core values and bridge their core values as universal, and they saw that as a way of enabling their children, who were all in the digital age, to really understand their traditional values. So they saw it as a vehicle. And for me, that was just thrilling. Margaret somehow persuaded Air New Zealand to give me a complimentary trip. And she really led Project Littleton. And then she got involved in, I guess her main focus was after the earthquake and Christchurch, and she really doubled down on efforts to build it in Christchurch and Littleton. And we'll get more, I think, face-to-face from Wendy. But what she did made me feel that New Zealand, in a very special way, both sort of nationwide and in Christchurch, really was a global leader. There wasn't just an island off there, but it was part of really the spiritual leadership of the whole movement. And that's what she spoke to, and she went to South Korea in December, and she was and she came to the States. She was a global champion, and I just wanted to make sure that we honored that and remembered that today. And it's very special to do that for me because of my 85th birthday, to remember her and to feel that this is a way of celebrating my birthday by paying tribute to really a kindred spirit. And I have a job to carry on her legacy. I think the only other thing that I should say is to start off the session without recalling the 5 core values
that would be great. But first, how about introducing Krista?
We felt that we needed to be ready for the next generation, and that somebody, and so we put out we asked for applicants, and this strange person, Krista Wyatt, came forward, and she came forward not from time banking, but from a different inspired tradition, and that was really organizing survivors of breast cancer from a small grassroots organization to a major organization. So we saw the way, and enabling those survivors to give back by helping new cancer patients. And we thought that so captured the spirit of time banking that we didn't have to teach her anything, that she could teach us something and we could all learn together. So I really want to introduce Krista to you all, because it's a very special privilege to bring her in and have her step up and to head the organization. So Krista,
hi. I am here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Perfect. Well, thank you. Yes, I am that weird person. Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, too. I just wanted to say thank you, Edgar, and happy birthday. Thank you. We all have wonderful skills to share, and to hear your stories and the differences you guys make in our community is very inspiring. So thank you.
Thank you, Krista. And Edgar, you were going to just say about you had 3 points that you shared with me earlier that you were going to talk to. One was about the power of going from individual exchanges to...
Yeah, I think what we've done is we've taken volunteering up to a new level and a new scale. That we've taken volunteering from one act that gets valued and then forgotten, really to a whole system, from the individual act becomes a relationship. The relationship becomes a network, and the network then fosters organizations and enables organizations to reach their mission. And the other thing I wanted to say is, as we become linked to organizations and as we become a vehicle for organizations to fulfill their mission, we're really going beyond that to create a new ecosystem. The whole is more than the sum of its parts, so that each act, in fact, begins to rebuild and renew an ecosystem for the future. And I think that this year is the year that we need it more than ever, given the coronavirus, but also given all the disparities that the economic system has created. So it's a privilege to be part of that. And I see this as a point where we move from being a set of programs to really being the core and the hub of a movement. So with that, Krista?
So actually, I'm sorry to everybody, because I announced very happily and carefully that we would start out with introductions, and then I handed over to Edgar. So I'm sorry, I really tip-topped the order on its head. But let us do that. Let us do Kathy, I'll hand over to you to do the introductions. Okay. And then we'll turn to Wendy and Pap and Jitka.
Sounds great. Okay, so I'll just go ahead and start and I'll model it. Again, my name's Kathy Sipple, and I'm calling in today from Valparaiso, Indiana, which is about an hour outside of Chicago in the United States. And I have been time banking for just over 4 years. I was actually the founder of our time bank, and I am the unpaid part-time coordinator as well. And I'm very happy to see that I have a time bank member of ours on the call. So I think that would be a logical first person to announce. So the way this will work is I'll ask you to kind of take the mic, and I will just unmute you as it's your turn to speak, and then I'll go ahead and mute you again to keep the quality of the recording. So Meenakshi, would you like to say a few words?
Sure. Can you hear me okay?
We can hear you great.
Yeah, Kathy has been really dedicated to this, and I think it's a great thing for the community. And we've been growing these last couple of years, really. So this is extremely interesting. And I've been with her, I think, from about the start. So
the very start.
This is very, very good. So I am thrilled that I can, participate in this. Thank you.
Thank you, Meenakshi. Yes, I believe she was actually the very first person to sign up in our time bank and the first one to make a financial donation to help us get started as well. So that was awesome. Okay, let's see. How about Wendy? Can we hear from you? I'm gonna try to, there we go. I'm just unmuted you, Wendy.
Hi there. Yeah, my name's Wendy Everingham, and I'm from Littleton in New Zealand, which is on the South Island, New Zealand. And I've been part of Timebank for a very long time. Way back in the beginning when Margaret started the Timebank here in Littleton in 2005. So I've had various roles in the Timebank over the years, from being a board member at Project Littleton to being on the Timebank advisory group to being a Timebank coordinator. So I've been around a long time, so I've got a few stories to tell.
Thank you so much. And can we hear next from Nancy Goodman? Let's see, I just tried to unmute you, Nancy. There
How's that?
Got it.
Hello, everybody. So yes, Nancy Goodman. I live and am part of a time bank on Cape Ann in Massachusetts, USA. It's the northeast part of the state, right on close to the border of New Hampshire. Our time bank is called the Cape Ann Time Bank, and we have been going on since 2006. This is our 13th year. We've had a lot of support from Edgar and Chris over the years, and we have a part-time paid coordinator. We're not huge. We're 118 members or 19 members right now. I think I'm particularly eager to be part of the call because with the virus, I am feeling this is just such a moment to seize on time banking as a solution that's just been kind of hovering for, like New Zealand, you've already had the crisis that brought time banking to make it so obviously a solution. And I feel like that's my effort within the next couple of weeks, is to bring it to the wider community's attention in a way that we haven't had up until now.
Thank you so
Wonderful.
much.
Wonderful.
Let's see. I'm going to unmute Jess next because I know from past Zoom that sometimes her internet goes in and out, so we want to get her while it's good.
Thank you, Kathy. I am Jess Allen. I am dialing in from the island of Puerto Rico. I moved here about 6 months ago. I actually, about 10 years ago, I spent about 10 years in Austin, and time banking is very popular in Austin, and I actually explored and started getting involved in a time bank in Austin, but didn't go too far. Did a couple things myself. I contributed time. Always loved the concept. I'm very much into technology, and I love blockchain technology. And in the blockchain space, there's a group of people that say everyone should be their own coin. We have the technology to mint ourselves, so to speak, and to track ourselves in a digital way. And so for me, I always kind of felt like that was a form of time banking. And now I'm in the process of developing a digital agency under a governance system that's called the Fair Shares Commons, which is a multi-stakeholder cooperative, and it's part of a larger incubator. It's a business incubator for the Fair Shares Commons, any organization that wants to be a multi-stakeholder cooperative. And when I started to introduce Kathy to the whole ecosystem, I love that you use the term ecosystem, and she said, I think a time bank would be a really great application because we have so many people that are getting involved in here and there, and I loved it. It immediately resonated
Uh-oh, she might be frozen.
with my heart and 8 hours.
Oh, you're back. Okay. Mhm.
Oh, I'm back. Oh, did I drop out?
You just froze a little bit. That's okay. Yeah.
So, anyway, so Kathy introduced me again, or reintroduced me to the idea. And so now that's in our consciousness, and we'll be working within our business incubator, I hope, as long as the other members are on board with it. But I imagine they would be very aligned with it. So I'm excited to see where we take it. And the time is right for sure, like you said, Nancy. So
Thank you so much. I'd like to go next to Pam Halton. Pam, I just unmuted you. Are you there, Pam?
Oh, try this. I had it on, I had muted myself in case, but forgot. Okay, so this is Dr. Pam Halton, and I am coordinator of a time bank that started very recently near the border of New York and Connecticut and Massachusetts. And I was hoping that our other coordinator from Connecticut was going to be on today, but maybe she'll be on tomorrow. And I'm very happy to hear that we are having more people that are interested in cooperatives, because I am very, very interested in worker cooperatives. I've been studying it for about 1.5 years now. And I'm really happy to hear that Jess has gone to Puerto Rico with that kind of interest, because I think that is fabulous to mix that with time banking, and I actually want to do that. I would like to start a worker cooperative that is a school and have it run in parallel with the time bank. Our time bank is community sharing exchange, and glad to be here. Happy birthday, Edgar.
Thank you, Pam. I just want to give Pam a shout out. I have learned so much from Pam. If you just get an email from Pam, her email signature has about 20 great ideas and books. So get an email from Pam. I'm going to go next to Kurt in Wisconsin. Kurt, I am trying to unmute you now. There we go. Got it.
Yes, so Kurt Roskoff here in the Milwaukee area. I'm a working board member of Humans United and Mutual Aid Networks. based out of Madison, Wisconsin, and with connections internationally. But I'm also set up with timebanks.org, thanks to the coordination of Pam Halton, to be kind of in the database as a time bank coordinator for my area just west of Milwaukee. And so, but just really at the infancy of kind of bringing membership into that time bank setup there, and to do something here more directly in my community. There is Milwaukee Area Time Exchange that is established, that has a history from the past decade of 1,000 people that have entered into the database over time for that. So just trying to be a leader of some sort here in southeastern Wisconsin, and to kind of grow this time banking element. And so right now enjoying the what seems to be like a birthday weekend celebration, because if I understand things correctly, Edgar's birthday is literally tomorrow, but we're starting the celebration earlier, which is cool. So thanks for being on here, everybody, and I'm glad to be a part of it.
Thank you, Kurt. And I think I'll turn it back over to you, Chris and Edgar, now, because everybody else is going to be presenting. Is that right? Or so I figured they could include their introduction as part of their talk, their 5-minute talk. Oh, are you muted, Chris? I'm not hearing you. Chris, we can't hear you right now.
I said, I think it would be nice actually just at least to hear names, because yes, we'll be doing a bigger introduction of PAP. Wendy, actually, we've heard Wendy from South, and the other person was Zitka. So PAP and Zitka have not been introduced yet. Is that right?
That's what I was hoping they could introduce themselves when they did their.
All right. PAP and Zitka, if you could, we'll introduce you in a little bit. But first, we'll start with Wendy to do the tribute, to complete the tribute to Margaret, because Wendy was there at the beginning, and then we'll go to PAP and Zitka. Okay.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
We can.
You can. Sorry, I wasn't sure if I haven't used Zoom before, so I'm not quite familiar with it. Anyway, yeah, I'm here from New Zealand to honour Margaret, really, Margaret Jeffries, who was my colleague since the time I arrived in New Zealand in 2003. Margaret was a really, really inspiring and amazing person, as you've heard from Edgar. When I first arrived here, she was a sort of person that, I don't know, she's had a sparkle in her eye, and she had big dreams. Margaret was a big systems thinker, and I've instantly sort of sought a rapport with her, and together her and I helped get Project Littleton acting as a totally new organisation. It became a community development organisation, of which time banking was one of many arms that we developed through Project Littleton. So I sat on Margaret's shoulder, really, watching the time bank develop. I have to say, in the very beginning, I was sceptical about time banking. I hate to say it, but I was. And so she'd get angry at me because I couldn't see the potential. But as time went on, I started to see how amazing time banking was. And so with Margaret, she could bring things to life. And I remember in the very early years of time banking, we'd sit in a book group, reading your book, Edgar, No More Throwaway People. And it started with a book group, conversation, chat, and gradually ideas built up and up. And then the time bank started taking off with Margaret, sort of saying, why don't you try this? What about that? What about this? So she just always had an amazing idea or amazing way to think about doing something, and she'd challenge you, and step by step things happened here. Margaret was so amazing that, the last 2 years of her life, she had breast cancer, But she kept pioneering stuff. She wasn't going to sit home and be sick. She was out there going to South Korea in November was testament to that. I mean, she was quite ill at that time, but she still had that drive and determination to go out there and tell people about how amazing time banking was. I'm not quite sure what happened with that trip to South Korea, whether I haven't followed up with them, but I'm sure she left sort of an inspiring message for them all, and I hope that time bank really flourishes. What else can I say about Margaret? Margaret, as you said, Edgar, Margaret was the global. She was a global brainstorm, really. Most of you wouldn't have heard of me. I was. I've been the local champion. Margaret was the global one. So most of my work has been here, basically only in Littleton. But Margaret was up and down New Zealand, helping other time banks establish, giving people ideas, and as you heard, also going overseas and inspiring other people too. So she's a great loss, but she's left a great legacy. And yeah, we've all been lucky that this amazing person was in our lives. So that's my tribute to Margaret.
That was lovely.
That was lovely. I would say a few more words. We talked once about how she bridged the divides of both of country, of some of the travails that South Korea was going through, and how she really did reach out. And I said, so what's your secret as to how you bridge those divides? And she said, the way you bridge those divides is to find out what a miracle the person is whom you're talking to, how special they are. And if you get them saying what they do, what they like to do, what they have done, and if you admire that and appreciate that, you've created a bridge, because the starting point is how miraculous a human being is. And she carried that sense of that aura with her, and she says, that's where I always start. I always start with what a miracle they are, and how I could appreciate what they do, and how I could learn from what they do. And that was always, she said, that was where where the bridge got built. And I've always remembered that, because when you talk to strangers, they're busy sort of saying, what's the polite thing to say? How do I introduce myself? How do I explain who I am? And she never explained who she was. She always celebrated the person she was talking to, and that's who she was.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was going to say, she also, before she died, she had like a living memorial at our local church. And that really, she was celebrating all the people there. Quite amazing.
Yeah, and she explained that. She said she didn't want to miss her funeral, so she thought she ought to hold. So she decided she would hold her own funeral.
Yeah.
That was Margaret.
Wow. Wendy, thank you so much for sharing. You really, really brought her to life in such a beautiful way. I met her only very briefly when we did, and I do recall very well when we did that workshop that who was the person who came with her to that workshop?
I actually don't know. I thought she went by this. I thought she came from Littleton by herself. I didn't realize there was another person.
Yeah, there was another person with her. Anyway, I remember her very well, and but that was the one and only time I saw her. And it's just wonderful to hear the impact that she has had. And
she did not miss her funeral.
So thank you so much for sharing.
It's all right.
So we will move on.
I'm sorry, I haven't said happy birthday, Edgar.
Well, we'll move on at this moment to where is Pup Pop from Senegal is going to share with us what he has been doing in Senegal. And I will just say very briefly that I have had enormous pleasure of working with Pop. We both have over the years, but we came with an extraordinary story of how he had started time banking in Senegal all by himself as a young person, had made it happen in a series of women's centers. It's just an amazing story. And then sort of disappeared from our horizon because he moved from Senegal to America. And when he moved, the time banks that he created, the new leadership didn't have his gift for sort of keeping it going that he'd had when he was there. So we sort of drifted a little bit apart. And then more recently, we came back together to explore the possibilities of a whole new approach to using time banking, which I think is quite remarkable. And I thought everybody on this call would probably, I'm sure, will love to hear about that. So Pop, if you would tell us about what you're doing in Senegal with time banking.
Thank you, Chris. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So thank you. I know we don't have much time, so I'll just try to go ahead and try to summarize as much as I can. But first, I will say that I've been with time banking for, I think, 15 years. As Chris said, I started time banking in Senegal and just was working with friends and family and colleagues through an organization that I created when I was 13. And then moved back to the US, kind of disappeared a little bit. But came back a year and a half ago with Chris also for another project in Dakar. So the first time banking that I was involved in Kaolack in Senegal, which is pretty much the north of Senegal, in a small town called Kaolack, where my parents, my grandparents actually are from, which is a very traditional and religious community. So the whole idea was to use time banking to transform traditional beliefs that have restricted women and young girls' professional development. Because as some of you might know, in our traditional religious context, which is really a context that's based on seniority role, which is also very based on patriarchal rule, where the elders have to decide, men have to decide, women are always submissive to women. It's really difficult for women to have their professional development. So what happened was I started an organization just to help my mom, and the organization was all about empowering women. And it was by default that I just happened to be there because I was born in Saint-Louis, which used to be the capital of West Francophone Africa, and went to Kaolack, which is the neighborhood that I just mentioned earlier, which is very traditional. And I couldn't just understand the fact that, my mom was doing everything, or women in general were doing everything, taking care of the kids, taking care of the house, taking care of their husband, taking care of their husband's family, doing pretty much everything. So I just wanted to understand and ask my mom, what can we do to help? For them, they just needed some free time. So that's why we started a daycare. And then from the daycare, we started a vocational training program, because after the daycare, when I asked, what do you need? They said, they have too much time. From not having time at all to having too much time was so funny to me. So, and after the daycare, we started a vocational training center, teaching them how to do sewing, knitting, and so on. And then after that, they say they have all these skills, but they don't know how to make money. We started a financial literacy program, and then a microfinance to give them money, so on. So in 2005, I think after reading Edgar's book, I was asking myself, the concept is wonderful. It resonated very well with me. But how do we create time banking in Africa, especially in Senegal, in a place where the only thing people have is time? They have too much of time. So how do you create a concept? So it was a little bit of a struggle to figure out what to do. But then I realized that, with Grades, which is the organization, the name of the organization that I created, this Grades, realized that, women don't have any professional development, and men really control the system, they control the economy, they control everything, and women always are at home taking care of the kid. So we introduced time banking as a way of just empowering women because, you know, as a way of creating also inclusiveness, because how do we get, you know, how do we win over men, and how do we win over religious leader? That was really the main concept. So we created time banking where you have an individual time banking and a collective time banking. So where religious leader used to just get women to go to their farms to cultivate their farm, they want to get paid, and that time, that's the time they used to use for, you know, the chores within the house. The collective time banking now is giving the religious leader, you know, 200 hours a month that women can use to go help the religious leader, and then they'll earn the time. By earning that time, they can use the time they earn from the collective time banking and go spend it on the individual time banking to send their kids to the daycare, or to go themselves learn new skills, the vocational training, or have access to the microfinance or the literary program, so on. So by doing that, one, we were able really to win over the religious leader right now, because now they feel like, oh, these people who used to help us by just being involved in time banking, you know, they were taking away from us. But by having the collective 2-hour time banking, now the religious leader accepted it. And husbands and men within the family, now they're using, their wives are also helping them by sending kids to the daycare, by learning skills, by bringing money at home. So time banking was really created a strong inclusive program within that neighborhood, by winning over the religious leader and also winning over the husbands. And by doing that, also the kids were going to school. You know, they're learning now new skills, they're learning new systems, and women also are able to really focus on their professional development by learning how to do knitting, sewing, by learning how to run a business, by having access to financing and so on. So that was really the first time banking that we set up in a religious traditional context. 10 years, 12 years ago. And then last year, no, a year and a half, around the end of 2018, beginning of 2019. So Chris and I also started talking. She reached out to me about an idea of how do we rebuild time banking. But this time we were just trying to figure out how do you leverage time banking, you know, in the 21st century, where technology is becoming very strong right now. And also young people, especially young girls, are facing the same challenges that I mentioned 12 years, 15 years ago. You know, in neighborhoods in Dakar, which is the capital of Senegal, you know, young women are not really able to really penetrate their own community. They're not part of the decision-making process when it comes to political leaders, to policy change, to education. They're not part of anything. It's always all the people who are the mayors, we are part of the president's cabinet, and nobody takes any suggestion or any ideas from the young girls. So we decided to develop a program called SEAL, which is Senegalese Ethical Actors and Leaders, to go into 6 different communities in Dakar, which is the capital, to select 4 young girls in each one of the communities, which is 24 young girls, and then bringing also mentors, like 32 women, to train them through what we call communicative arts, like photography, like videography, music, and journalism. And by training them through those 4 categories, they will be able to highlight what are the challenges they're facing within their own communities. What solution will they suggest to be part of the management of their own communities? And what do they want to see, you know, improve, and what message do they want to send to the government or to their local leaders or national leaders? So what we did was, okay, we get some organizations, like we get the best school of journalism in Senegal. We get a couple of musicians who have their studios as well. We get the also different partners who are also doing media and photography and videography. And then we also get other partners who really can help with bringing mentors. So what we did was each one of them went into their communities and start identify a problem. And then through that problem, they'll take pictures of that problem, what they want to showcase through pictures, what they want to showcase through videos, and write a song about those, the problem, and also write an article about those problems. So we just finished the first phase after 2 months of planning, 4 months of implementing it. Now all 24 young girls right now, they have 6 songs, like each community, like the 6 communities right now were able really to get the young girls to produce 6 songs, 60 pictures, 6 videos, and 60 pictures, 6 songs, 6 videos, and 6 articles of op-eds, opinion pieces that they will really showcase. So we're getting into the second phase. We'll be creating a one-day festival to showcase all of those things to the religious leaders, and the videos, the pictures, and so on. But what happened through this process was now the young girls really took ownership of the full thing, and they have mentors within their communities and went back to their communities to implement time banking programs in each one of those 6 communities in Dakar to really use those 4 categories that I mentioned, video, pictures, song, and journalism, to showcase what are the things, traditional beliefs, what are the professional challenges they're facing within their community, and how can they really get community, religious leaders and political leaders and administrative leaders to really incorporate that into their decision-making process. So that's really what we just finished, and we're getting into the second phase next year. Hopefully with coronavirus, things will change. And which is one thing that's funny is one of those communities, one of those 6 communities is addressing what they call improving mental well-being. So what they're doing is through time banking, they're taking, time banking was allow them to really to take them outside of their home and enable them to go meet other people, interview them, train them, work with them, create develop mentorship between younger girls and older women. And I think this is really funny and ironic in the time of coronavirus that one of those communities started that. So I think I'll just stop here for now and just allow questions at the end of the presentation. So thanks again for the opportunity to share this, and look, I'm so excited to be part of this international and global community of time banking.
Thank you so much. That was so inspirational. Chris or Edgar, do you want to say anything, or should we go right to Jitka?
Well, I think the time is such we should go on to the next, but it's really a remarkable civil rights organizing effort undertaken against all odds by one man who thought maybe this was wrong. I had a slight edge on him. I have a twin sister who is 15 minutes my elder, so my learning about women and equality started a little bit before most people, but I salute you for what you've done, Pap. It's wonderful.
Thank you, Pap. Thank you. And so, yes, we are moving this hour. I don't know about you guys, but it seems to have gone very, very fast. So Jitka comes from Canada, and she is going to be sharing about her time bank, which actually we spoke with a coordinator and founder, Patsy, who is stuck in Spain and trying to get back, and is negotiating with planes and flights and things. But they have a rural time bank in a very small community in rural Canada. I think that's, Patsy said they have about 450 people in that community, and their time bank has 150 people. So it's taken over a large part of the community. And Patsy, we had a lovely, lovely talk with Patsy about how they made that happen. So Jitka is calling in on Patsy's behalf and to tell us about your time bank, Jitka, and we'll look forward to hearing from you about how you made this happen.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate this. And I must say that Kate's presentation is really an inspiration to give some idea of how far we can go and what we can do with this time banking concept. Yes, we live in Eastern Canada, Atlantic Canada, Cape Breton, which is an island, part of Nova Scotia. It's a small remote community and an aging community of a preponderance of seniors. And the young people have moved away and are coming back in their retirement, and the older people are holding the fort. And we found ourselves in this small community with lots of needs and lots of community spirit, but needing some kind of way of expressing that community spirit. And that's exactly what we found in Timebank. I'm one of the founding members of the Timebank, and I'm currently sitting on the advisory board. And Patsy is our part-time Cape coordinator, and we found that an absolutely valuable position, because she's been responsible for keeping things and pulling things together, knocking on doors, making phone calls, encouraging people, and keeping things moving. When I accepted this invitation to speak, one of the things that Patsy told me I was going to have to tell you about was a memorable moment in my time banking experience. And I must tell you, that was my first summer 4 years ago. I'd had a severe accident and had neglected my garden the whole summer, was faced with an insurmountable job here, and found that a group of people through Timebank came and turned that insurmountable task into an opportunity for companionship and sharing. And that memory of that event comes back to me every single time we participate in a group event. And I found that pulling the community together into groups and group activities has really been the core of what Timebank has done for us. We have community meetings. We've divided our area up into 4 communities that get together twice a year and decide what they're going to do in the community. And it has resulted in the spin-off of activities like community food gardens, trail development that has gotten 2 communities that really haven't been having that much in common, working together and solving problems together. We've set up a biannual road cleanup group, and have seen the taping of a French documentary about the value of social equity and its importance in a community. It's been wonderful also on an individual basis to see individuals who have a lot to offer the community, especially older persons who can't find a place to direct their energy and their talent and their interest. And Timebank has really given them a niche. We have one lady who really didn't know how to express herself in the community, has been organizing seniors lunches on a regular basis in the summertime, when this is a tourist community. And so the young active people are busy over their heads in work, really don't have time to be organizing community events. She has taken it over and is organizing regular luncheons for the seniors in the community. So it's really been an opportunity to see our community grow and regain its community spirit. What we've also done is engage community organizations in working through Timebank and finding resources in the community, like the local nursing home, the local community safety officer, the transit system, all of these agencies who need access to people who are willing to work and people who are needing help, and pulling them together, also making their resources available to various programs that Timebank has started up. So it has really been a boost to this community spirit that has always been there, but needed a way of expressing itself. And we're very grateful for the opportunity to be part of this great organization. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for sharing, because that's so lovely. We have just 5 minutes. Kathy, do you have a suggestion how I would like to close out with a few words from Edgar, but maybe we could take just maybe 1 or 2 questions? What do you think?
Didn't hear too much from Krista. Did she get to really say enough?
Well, Krista, would you like to step in? That would be great. Why don't you step in with something to share about you're becoming the new executive director, because you will be connecting with all of these people going forward. And we're so happy to be introducing you to the community and the community to you.
Well, thank you. definitely. I'm actually speechless, which doesn't happen very often. Listening to the stories that you have shared and what you have all have done to your, the community, to your friends, to your family is just, I'm in awe. I am very excited to carry on the legacy and to make this organization grow. I see so much potential of moving forward. And I'm just happy to be on board. I've already seen so far working with both Chris and Edgar and Kathy, Eric and Pam, and just such a great team already. We have so much heart and so much drive already to continue with Timebanks and everything that it has to offer. So I'm very excited. I have lots and lots of great plans.
That's true. You know how, I don't know if all of you know about Elizabeth Warren, who was running for the Democratic candidacy, and she would say, I have a plan for that. Well, Krista, I have a plan for that. So we're looking forward to learning about Krista's plans as we go forward.
I think my closing words would be the saying that I developed and that Martin Simon then added to, which was, we have what we need if we use what we have. And then Martin added, we have what we need if we share what we have. And those are really the two sort of seminal principles that I think guide us all. We have so much more than we realize. And if we use it and if we share it, we can change the world.
So we are just about at our end. Kathy, I want to turn over to you for some last remarks.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, that's
I know you weren't expecting me. Let me just say something about Kathy, which is that it's been such a delight working with Kathy, and this is such a generous offer that she made to host these calls for us and to set them up and be the coordinator like this. And I will just say, because Kathy has not had a chance to share about her work with time banking, that she is heavily into environmental work with the Time Bank and is doing really exciting things on that front. And I know that every one of you on this call could share so much. And it was a hard thing. Do we keep it on lots of little tiny sharings, or do we actually ask a couple of people to go more in depth? And we took the latter route, knowing that that would mean some of you wouldn't have a chance to share so much. But I hope it's been enlightening and exciting for you all. And now I am going to hand over to Kathy as the host to close us out.
Well, I hope that this is something that we can duplicate and we can do again, and we don't even have to wait until it's International Timebanking Day. Right now, it's my understanding that Zoom is actually making professional licenses available for free. Usually you can get a license for free, but your meeting length is limited to 40 people, or excuse me, 40 minutes. So you might want to check that out. But I'm really thinking an opportunity we have right now is to transfer something that we've done in the past called a Skillshare that we've typically done in person, and we can do an online Skillshare. And there's really no reason that that has to be limited to local time banks. I think that would be a really cool collaborative thing that we could offer, almost a 24/7 Skillshare-a-thon between time banks. You know, what is it that you could do that you could show people how to do online? Like a lot of people are baking bread right now that they can't go to the store. So if somebody's really great at baking bread, I'd love to work with, you know, people in general, and I'll probably send out a, you know, sign up form after this, along with the recordings for all 3 days, to see who would like to participate in that. That's something I'm going to be kicking off with my time bank, but it occurs to me there's really no reason to keep it local. This is a time when we can all come together and share what we know. As Edgar just said, we have enough if we share what we have. So that's all I have. I just really appreciate being a part of this.
Well, thank you so much. And we are at the end of our hour. Thank you all so much for being on this call and for the sharing that all of you have done. And thank you for Wendy and Papenzicker for going more in depth. It's been really inspiring to hear what you've had to share, every one of you. Thank you.
I'm thrilled it was recorded.
Yeah.
Definitely, definitely.
There's too rich
Thank you.
to lose.
Thank you so much. Stay in good health all. And with that, we'll go ahead and close us out.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Okay.
Bye.
Come back tomorrow if you'd like.
Right,
Be a whole new cast of characters, possibly.
Oh, nice. So
love that.
different people will be sharing different stories tomorrow?
Mhm.
Oh, okay. Super cool. Okay.
And we had different people yesterday too. We had Spain and other people from New Zealand and just other people from across the US. So yeah.
I have my other live webinar for something else, but hopefully I'll try to catch it after that one's over. So
Great. And there's
fantastic and
Meenakshi
inspiring.
and Krista. It's nice to see your faces there at the end, or a little bit of Meenakshi's. Okay.
Thank you.
Take care, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye. See you and hear you tomorrow.
Bye, Kurt.
Bye-bye.